On the day of the birthday party, my older sister planned to have her first sexual experience with her delinquent boyfriend. When I found out, I stepped in right away to stop it, and my parents, furious, had someone break my thug boyfriend's legs and throw him out. My older sister didn't say a word. She took the initiative to admit her mistake and earned my parents' forgiveness. But on the very day our parents decided to divide their assets, he set me on fire and burned me alive. You ruined my love life, and now you want a share of my inheritance? You deserve to die. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on the day of my sister's birthday party. I watched as my sister and her thug boyfriend got into the car. I quickly reminded Dad not to forget to lock the car. With the scorching sun and temperatures around 37 or 38 degrees, those two are just asking to get dehydrated. In my previous life, my older sister dated a thug whose family ran a small mahjong parlor and whose parents didn't have steady jobs either. When my parents found out, they were so angry that their blood pressure shot up right then and there. They also declared that they would never allow him to associate with that thug again, or else he could forget about inheriting their estate. My older sister refused, screaming and crying that she wanted to go out and find her delinquent boyfriend, so my parents had no choice but to lock her up. They didn't let her out until her 18th birthday. But who would have thought she'd take the opportunity to bring her thug boyfriend, Zhang Jun, home, and that the two of them would try to hide in her dad's Rolls-Royce Cullinan to have their first time together. By the time I noticed, my older sister had already taken off her top. I was so scared that I immediately ran back to find my parents. Without a word, they dragged Zhang Jun down and broke one of his legs. Strangely enough, my older sister was actually quite eager to admit her mistake this time, and Mom and Dad forgave her. After that, my older sister really became a completely different person, and Mom and Dad finally stopped being wary of her. However, on the day the property was to be divided, my older sister asked me to meet her at the warehouse. She had been very kind to me lately. I went there completely unprepared. But as soon as we walked into the warehouse, the lock on the door broke and we couldn't open it no matter what we tried, and then the place was engulfed in flames. The temperature inside the tin-roofed warehouse was terrifyingly high. The heat was so stifling I could barely breathe. Just then, I saw my older sister through the window, smiling maliciously. You ruined my relationship, and now you want a share of my assets? Just go to hell! As the flames raged, my body felt as if it were being cut by a knife. I was burned alive. After I died, my sister went crying to my parents, who were at a dinner party, and even found a thug to pretend to be my boyfriend. I said that my boyfriend and I had originally planned to meet in secret, but the warehouse door was broken and the wiring was old, which is why I was electrocuted. My parents gave all their assets to my older sister in one fell swoop, and to save face, they even issued a public announcement severing ties with me. Not even my body in the morgue was claimed by anyone. And now I find myself back at this point again. The weather was just like in my previous life, the scorching sun hung high in the sky, and the ground was so hot it seemed to be sizzling. My older sister and that thug Zhang Jun pushed and shoved their way back into Dad's car. This time, I didn't go up to him. Instead, I turned around and went to find my dad. I linked my arm through Dad's and smiled sweetly. Dad, I heard there have been a lot of pickpockets at this hotel lately. Be sure to lock your car. But Dad didn't seem to care at all. It's fine. Security here is pretty good, and besides, who would dare steal my car? He's right, we booked the entire hotel today especially for my sister's birthday. Everyone knows that car belongs to Lin Fanqing, the host. Besides, my dad has so many cars that he wouldn't really mind if one went missing. But I don't want to. I don't want my sister to have her first time in the spacious, air-conditioned Cullinan, only to turn around and end it, then act like a good daughter in front of Mom and Dad. Thinking about that made me feel even more resentful. Dad lifted his foot to keep walking inside, but I quickly grabbed his arm. But my sister picked this car out for you herself. If someone were to steal a part or something, she'd be upset, wouldn't she? When he heard me say that, Dad stopped in his tracks and nodded. You're right, I should lock it up. If anything really goes missing, especially that chair cover, which your sister embroidered herself, she'll definitely give me a hard time if it's gone." He took out his keys and handed them to the doorman, asking him to lock up. Just to be on the safe side, I quietly followed behind. With a beep, all the windows around the room rolled up, and several black blackout curtains came down. The figure inside clearly paused for a moment, but quickly hugged her and fell. The doorman next to me couldn't see them, but from where I was standing, I could see the corners of their mouths curving into smiles through the slits in the blackout curtains. The two of them thought they'd pressed some kind of button, which just added to the atmosphere, perfect, since they weren't worried about being discovered. My dad had soundproof glass installed specifically for that purpose. It blocks out about 80% of the noise from inside. Unless you scream until your voice bleeds, no one will know. I smiled slightly. I hope my sister will be smiling just as happily later on. He took out his cell phone and sent a message to the media waiting in the shadows. As I was leaving, I told a few doormen, "It's so hot today, there's no need for you to stand guard here. The car is locked now, and without a key, it can't be opened. It's such a big car, it's not like anyone's going to carry it away, and there are security cameras all around. So go ahead and take a break." After the doormen bowed and scraped to express their thanks, they headed to the air-conditioned room to escape the heat. As I was leaving, I saw a pair of hands resting on the blackout curtain, which were then pulled down by another hand. "Sis, I won't bother you during your first time this time, but with the temperature at 38 degrees, be careful not to get heat exhaustion when doing high-intensity exercise." With everything settled, I went with my parents to the banquet hall. In my previous life, I was a bit reserved and didn't really like to speak up, so I wasn't very close to my dad. My older sister is very charming and often says nice things about me to Dad. Just like when she was little and her dad was tired, she would immediately rush into his arms and act all cute, telling him how much she missed him, and he'd be completely captivated by her. He wouldn't notice that the slippers he's wearing are the ones I got him, or that the juice he's drinking is the one I squeezed myself. Over the years, I've become the mysterious one in my parents' eyes, so they've favored my older sister even more. Besides, in my previous life, even though they said they wouldn't give my sister any of the estate, it was all a lie. The document clearly stated that my sister would get 8 parts and I would get 2. Now that I've been reborn, I'm going to take everything back. Breaking with my usual habits, I linked my arm through Dad's and followed behind him as we toasted the guests. Address people properly. The uncles watched this unfold, and they were all filled with delight and surprise. "Xiaoya has really changed. She used to be so quiet." My dad was already pleasantly surprised by the change in me today, and now that I've been praised by others, the look in his eyes has become a little more affectionate. But she still waved her hand and smiled, saying, "She's grown up, but she still has a lot to learn. She's not as poised as her older sister." Mom came over, too. "Yeah, Yaya has definitely changed a lot today, but she still has a lot to learn from her older sister." The corners of my mouth turned down slightly. It's been like this ever since I was a kid. Whenever someone compliments me on something, my parents bring up my older sister. The uncles were a little embarrassed. "What about Xiao Shui? Why haven't we seen her yet? It's her birthday today, after all." Mom quickly sent someone to look for him. A servant standing nearby said, "I think I saw the eldest young lady heading toward the underground parking garage." Dad clicked his tongue and immediately sent someone to look for him. "What's she doing out there on a day like this? Go find her and bring her back." Only half the guests have arrived so far. What I want is for my sister to make a fool of herself in front of everyone, and that person hasn't shown up yet. The time isn't right. I quickly stopped her, but my sister texted me saying she was going to pick up a gift for Mom and Dad. Even though it's her birthday, Mom and Dad raised her after all. I pulled up the chat history. That was indeed the excuse my sister gave me. She just didn't want anyone to disturb them, but in my previous life, when I saw Zhang Jun arrive, I was worried, so I went over to check on them. When my parents found out, they hit Zhang Jun, but they actually blamed me for handling the situation poorly, saying I'd almost let it get out. This time, I'm going to leave them speechless. When Mom and Dad saw it, their eyes crinkled with laughter. Xiao Shui is just so thoughtful. The people standing nearby chimed in with their compliments. We've long heard that Miss Lin isn't just beautiful but also filial. It seems it's true. That's exactly the kind of daughter every mother should have. That's right, we're so jealous of President Lin. I heard that Xiao Shui is about to get engaged to the eldest son of the Jiang family. They really are a perfect match. The Jiang family was originally a match my grandmother had arranged for me, but just because my older sister said she wanted to be with Jiang Shua when she was 15, my engagement was given to her instead. But she thought Jiang Shua wasn't wild enough, so she turned around and started hanging out with thugs again. They were gushing, and Mom and Dad were saying, Xiao Shui is so demure and ladylike, who wouldn't like a girl like that? I snickered to myself, the demure lady you're talking about is right now in a car with some thug, working up a sweat. I wonder if my dad will still be able to smile when he sees it with his own eyes. It was tough for the woman inside the car, too. As the air conditioning was turned off, the cool air inside was gradually fading. They're not stupid. They'd definitely open the door and come out, but of course I wasn't going to give them that chance. I had the media hang around over by the parking lot and told them to shout that there was big news. Naturally, my older sister didn't dare come out. The birthday boy and some guy with blonde hair came out of the car drenched in sweat. How embarrassing that looked when the media snapped a photo of them. Her sister had no choice but to endure the sweltering heat while hiding in the car, hoping to wait until the media left before coming out. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the temperature kept rising, and the car felt like a steamer. Just getting close to it felt like it would melt you. One can only imagine what the people inside went through. But sis, you brought this on yourself. Hang in there a little longer. Once everyone's here, my sister will let you out. I was just thinking about that when suddenly someone, I don't know who, shouted, then how do you explain the rumors that were going around before about Lin Shui dating some small-time thug? A photo of a girl and Zhang Jun kissing popped up on his phone. That face looked just like Lin Shui's, and she was even wearing the bracelet Dad had specifically photographed, the only one of its kind. There's no way I could deny knowing this woman. In an instant, everyone turned to look at Mom and Dad, and the room erupted in a flurry of chatter. The atmosphere, which had been lively just moments before, began to feel eerie. No way. If the eldest daughter of the Lin family did something like this, what will the Jiang family say? No sooner had the words left his mouth than Zhang's mother and the others were already standing behind him, their faces as dark as could be. Mom and Dad didn't look happy either. What had been a perfectly fine gathering had turned into this. My eldest daughter's image as a demure, ladylike young woman was instantly shattered. Besides, they can't just blurt out that it's a fake. These people are all shrewd, and the Jiang family, in particular, is especially hard to fool. Just then, my dad suddenly raised his hand and slapped me. You little brat! How dare you steal your sister's bracelet to meet up with those hoodlums? Are you trying to completely disgrace me? My sister and I look alike anyway, and since we're only a year apart in age, everyone would believe me if I said so. I covered my face, my eyes red and teary. In my past life, I knew all along that my parents were biased, but it still hurts now. Mom frowned as well. Xiaoya, this is going too far. Cut all ties with that guy right now. I bit my lip and said nothing. Tears were welling up in my eyes. Now is not the time to argue, we have to wait until the balloon reaches its peak intensity. The explosion will be most spectacular at the very end. Dad took the blame for me, too, and apologized to everyone like a great father. I'm sorry to have caused you all this embarrassment. It's my youngest daughter who doesn't know any better, it has nothing to do with Xiaoxue. I'll make sure to give her a good talking to when I get home. He also kept greeting the Jiang family. Oh, so it's the younger daughter. I knew the Lin family would keep insisting that their eldest daughter is a lady of good family and would never do something like that. Oh well, my younger daughter just can't measure up to my older daughter. I hope you'll forgive her. I dug my fingernails deep into my flesh, reminding myself that this pain was caused by my parents and forcing myself to calm down. For the rest of the time, I stood in the corner while people pointed and whispered about me. He's such a piece of trash, everyone wants to kick him. Mom and Dad went out and couldn't stop praising my older sister. Time was slipping away, but my sister was still nowhere to be seen. A few waiters carrying drinks walked by. Oh my gosh, there's a car over in the parking lot that's moving around like crazy. Looks like there's a man and a woman inside. What on earth are they doing in broad daylight? When my parents heard this, they cursed them viciously. The world really is going to the dogs. I wonder what this girl's parents would think if they found out. It's just despicable. Mr. Lynn, don't worry. Your eldest daughter is such a good girl, she wouldn't do anything like that. Just keep an eye on your youngest daughter. Dad took a sip of his drink. Yeah, this little girl of mine is a constant worry. If I hadn't been keeping an eye on her, who knows what she might have gotten herself into with that little thug today. But why isn't Lin Shui here yet? Dad was getting impatient, so he sent someone to look for him. I looked everywhere, but still came up empty-handed. Suddenly, a doorman ran over. Mr. Lin, is that the Cullinan in the parking garage yours? It looks like there's been an incident, several media outlets are gathered around it. As soon as they heard that, everyone burst out laughing. Wow, Mr. Lin, that couple the waitress mentioned a moment ago, they didn't secretly get into your car, did they? My dad was so angry his face turned dark. I definitely locked my car. Whoever's messing with it must not want to live, I'm going to check it out. Even rich people love to gossip. A large group of people followed Dad in a grand procession to the parking lot. As soon as we arrived, we saw several members of the media swarming around the car, snapping photos and shouting, "Come on, get out of there. If you're having an affair, just have an affair, but don't let anyone die in the sweltering heat." That's right, this is the Lin family's car. My dad was so furious he yelled, "You two bastards, how dare you get all over each other in my car? That seat cover was embroidered by my eldest daughter, if you get it dirty, I'll break your legs. I'll just have to see who it is." As he spoke, he quickly pulled out his keys and unlocked the car. With a beep, the car door unlocked. Dad hurried over and opened the back door. But that single glance left him so stunned that he couldn't say a word. The older sister and Zhang Jun were completely naked, and both of their bodies were covered in plum-red marks. Anyone could tell what they were doing. The moment the door opened, a wave of heat mixed with a sticky, fishy smell hit my nose. Everyone covered their noses. Meanwhile, my sister and Zhang Jun had become completely dehydrated and were disoriented from being baked by the intense heat inside the car. As soon as he came into contact with the fresh air, he was like a fish in water. Without even bothering to put on any clothes, he crawled right out and fell to the ground. "Dad. Help me." Now everyone could clearly see what these two people looked like. Isn't that Lin Shui? And isn't that guy the thug from the photo? How come these two are doing that in the car? So that must be Lin Shui in the photo. What's more, the chair cover in the car, which Dad had been so fond of and which his eldest daughter had embroidered herself, was already covered in water stains. It was like an invisible hand, slapping my dad across the face. We had actually invited quite a few media outlets here today, and now they've all set up their equipment. Someone even held the voice recorder right up to my dad's mouth. "So, Mr. Lin, what you just said about that girl being your youngest daughter was a false accusation, right? Can you believe my oldest daughter would do something like this with some lowlife? She's only 18. My mom was so upset she couldn't say a word. My dad was the first to snap out of it. He quickly took off his clothes and covered my sister with them, then had someone take her to the hospital. Then have the secretaries escort the guests out. Sorry, the birthday party is over for today. Please leave. The Jiang family saw everything that happened. My dad wanted to run after him to explain, but he just turned on his heel and walked away. He slapped his thigh and had no choice but to rush to the hospital first. Naturally, my dad ordered the news to be suppressed. But I won't let him get away with it. Not only were the media outlets invited inside, but I also had quite a few independent short video creators show up at the hotel entrance. These aren't on the payroll of any media company, so my dad has no control over them. Before long, the incident shot to the top of the trending list, and the whole internet was mocking it. And this is supposed to be the Lin family's eldest daughter? Mr. Lin treats her like a treasure, but how is she any different from those streetwalkers? In broad daylight, in a car, TSK, TSK, TSK. The funniest part is that Mr. Lin even claimed that was his youngest daughter, poor little girl. Not only is it spreading like wildfire online, but it's also spreading like wildfire here. All those so-and-so CEOs treat dad like a joke. Some people even stopped by while shopping to see my sister, saying, "We heard your eldest daughter got heat exhaustion from exercising in the car, so we came by specifically to check on her." It was so shocking that my dad's face turned every shade of color, even more so than a chameleon's. Most importantly, the Jiang family called to say they wanted to give the marriage alliance some more thought. By the time I got to the hospital, my sister had already woken up. She went completely crazy when she saw those comments online. He was smashing things all over the hospital room. Aya, how could this happen? My reputation, how am I supposed to show my face in public now? Mom and Dad were just standing over there watching. As soon as I walked in, my sister came charging at me like a madwoman and grabbed me by the throat. "I heard from someone that you were the one who told Dad to lock the car doors. Did you arrange for the media to be there too? You did this on purpose." She was choking me like a madwoman, and I was coughing violently. Suddenly, my dad reached out and pulled us apart. A slap landed on Lin Shue's face. She covered her face, her eyes filled with disbelief. "Dad! You hit me because of Lin Yu. If Lin Yu hadn't told you to lock the car doors and arranged for the media to be there, I wouldn't have gotten dehydrated. I wouldn't have been unable to open the door and leave, and I wouldn't have been seen by everyone." Smack. My dad raised his hand and slapped me again. My dad has been completely worn out these past couple of days because of what happened with my sister. Within less than 2 hours of the incident, the company was significantly affected. In addition to Lin Shue's name, my dad's name also appeared on the trending list. Because he slapped me to make me admit that the girl was mine, and the video was posted online, which, of course, was all part of my plan. The topic of the Lin family's favoritism immediately trended on social media. At the same time, people have also exposed Lin Shue's all show. Her charity work is just for appearances. She just takes a few photos and leaves every time. He even complained to his friends that the children in the orphanage all smelled bad. But I was genuinely doing charity work and volunteering, no publicity, no makeup or hairstyling, just a red vest running around with the rest of the group. The Lin family is really stupid. Don't buy their products, whether you eat them or use them, they'll ruin your intestines. In just one night, the Lin family's stock plummeted dramatically. Dad was already at his wit's end, but Lin Shue still wouldn't back down and refused to admit she was in the wrong. "Why can't I hit you? After doing something like that, you still have the nerve to blame Lin Yu. Didn't I tell you a long time ago to break up with that Zhang Jun? Why didn't you listen? Do you know the Jiang family wants to call off the engagement?" My sister was clutching the blanket and screaming. "So be it, I'll call off the engagement. I was only marrying that Jiang guy because of his looks anyway. The one I truly love is Zhang Jun." Seeing how my sister refused to change her ways, my dad was so angry he couldn't stop sighing. "Lin Shue, have you lost your mind? What's so great about that Zhang Jun? Now you've ruined your reputation." I finally caught my breath and went over to try to talk my sister out of it. Sis, you can't keep doing silly things for Zhangjun anymore. Dad has already given him a good scolding, so just stop thinking about him. I deliberately let that information slip. Lin Shui's eyes suddenly widened. She had only heard the two words Zhangjun. In her previous life, her affairs hadn't been exposed, and she harbored a grudge against me while calmly plotting her schemes, but now she's long since lost her sanity. She rushed up to her father and confronted him hysterically. What did you do to Zhangjun? Did you hit him? I'm going to see him. With that, he was about to rush outside. Right now, there are reporters lurking in the shadows everywhere outside. The moment she steps out that door, photos will be all over the place. I quickly rushed forward to hold the door shut and stop my sister. My sister threw herself at me with all her might, digging her nails into my neck. The pain made my vision go all fuzzy. But I still couldn't get out of the way. Sis, you can't go out. If you go out now, it'll just fuel the public outcry. What are you going to do to Dad? I don't care, I'm going to see Zhangjun. My sister kept charging forward, heedless of everything. It was my father who stepped forward, grabbed my sister, and pushed her back onto the bed, then called for the nurses. Dad looked at my sister, who was still acting crazy, and snorted, if she doesn't calm down, just give her a sedative. Then he took me outside. I leaned against the wall, panting heavily, and as Dad looked at the wound on my neck, a look of concern crossed his face for the first time. That Lin Shui is completely crazy. Xiaoye, you've been through a lot this time. I shook my head. It's okay. If we let my older sister come out, our Lin family will get scolded again. My dad's eyes welled up with emotion, and then he patted me on the shoulder. This time, it was Dad's fault. Dad apologizes to you. It's okay, Dad. Dad looked at my pale face and finally sighed, then took me to see a doctor to get it bandaged. It wasn't long before Mom rushed over. With tears in her eyes, she confronted her father, asking why he had treated Lin Shui that way and why he had given her a sedative. Dad yelled, "Look what that lunatic has done to Xiaoyu." Mom walked into the room, looked at the fingernail marks on my neck and the deep bite marks, and gasped. Finally, feeling frustrated that he couldn't get the best out of him, he closed his eyes. What about the press conference this afternoon? Lin Shui used to attend them with us. Dad was staring at me. Let Xiaoyu come with us this time. I feigned surprise, then paused for a few seconds before obediently nodding. But a smile had already begun to form on my lips. This afternoon, I attended the press conference with my parents. It was mainly to announce the Lin family's new project and clarify recent events. The media packed the hall to capacity. As soon as we appeared, the flash went off. Mr. Lin, what explanation do you have regarding Lin Shui's situation? Is a daughter like that really fit to be an heir? What are you trying to accomplish by bringing your younger daughter out now? Do you think your older daughter is too much of an embarrassment? Miss Lin Yu, your biological father framed you to protect your sister's reputation. How do you feel about that? Does someone like that really deserve to be your father? Are you constantly being neglected at home, Miss Lin Yu? Please answer. With one problem after another, Mom and Dad's faces had long since turned so dark they looked like they were about to drip with rain. Judging by the way things look, if we don't provide an explanation today, this won't blow over. I slowly sat down at the podium and picked up the microphone. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend our Lin's new product launch. We've incorporated the latest technology into this product, making it at least 100 times more sensitive than our previous system. If you're interested, please feel free to speak with our project manager for more details. Regarding what happened with my sister recently, I can only apologize to everyone for taking up public resources. After all, this is a private family matter. My sister has already realized she was wrong. After all, who hasn't fallen for a bad boy during their teenage years? My humorous tone made the media and the audience laugh. As for my parents, I believe there are no parents in the world who don't love their children. Their love for me may not be obvious, but it's definitely there. My comment wasn't just self-righteous, it actually saved my parents' face, while also serving as a gentle reminder that they still have a daughter. The media members in the audience also exchanged sympathetic glances. Mr. Lynn, your youngest daughter is so well-behaved, what are your thoughts on that? In my father's eyes, I saw not only pride but also guilt. As a father, I have failed. I would like to sincerely apologize to my youngest daughter for what happened, and I will transfer 10% of the company's shares to Siaya's name. After the press conference ended, online discussion about the Lin family died down considerably. Most of them are praising me, saying I truly live up to my reputation as a rich girl. But that 10% stake is still far too small compared to my sister's 30%. With the release of the press conference video, public opinion regarding the Lin family has gradually improved, though many people are still criticizing them. My parents were also very pleased with how I did that day, but I still couldn't stop thinking about my older sister. After all, in my previous life, I was already dead, and just because of a few lies my sister told, they didn't even report it to the police, nor did they claim my body. I'm not in a hurry either. Don't worry, Mom and Dad. I'll cooperate with the company for now, and rest assured, I'll never take anything that belongs to my sister. I sat there, looking completely harmless, blinking at my parents. Mom sighed and pulled me into her arms. She didn't say anything, just patted me gently. Things gradually started looking up for the Lin family, and I began making frequent public appearances, taking part in interviews and spearheading charitable efforts, which single-handedly turned the Lin family's reputation around. My sister's mood also began to ease. I heard Dad promise her that as long as she could pull herself together, he would turn a blind eye to her relationship with Zhang Jun, and that she would still be the first in line to inherit. My sister was also affected by the news. Seeing me standing in the spot where she used to stand made her seethe with rage, and she stopped acting crazy. Dad was over the moon about this change. He has mentioned on numerous occasions in public that his sister has turned over a new leaf. Do you think I'd let that happen? That evening, my older sister was recording a PR video in her hospital room, sharing the book she'd read that day in an effort to restore her public image. Just then, two nurses started chattering away at the door. That young lady sure has it good right now, but her little lover is in for a rough time. He had his leg broken right before his eyes. Yeah, that's terrible. Isn't it just pure torture for President Lin to forbid the use of medication? A sparkle flashed in Lin Shui's eyes. In the middle of the night, Lin Shui used a stomachache as an excuse to send the nurse at the doorway, then went up to the third-floor ward on her own. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Zhang Jun, with one leg dangling, gasping for breath. Lin Shui burst into tears and threw herself into the man's arms, and in the end, the two of them poured out their hearts to each other. Lin Shui climbed on top of Zhang Jun. When the nurse opened the door during her rounds, the two people inside let out a startled scream. Since people in the hospital are light sleepers to begin with, everyone rushed over to see what was happening. Meanwhile, the reporters I had stationed in the shadows all rushed forward. Before dawn, the trending topics were already exploding. Over the past few days, Lin Shui's reputation has improved slightly. Every day, she posts messages on the platform about self-reliance and independence, even saying she regrets her past actions and urging other girls to take care of themselves. This twist generated a huge surge in traffic. Lin also took the opportunity to capitalize on this traffic to launch her own new product. Well, now it's just crashed completely. Stocks that had initially stabilized immediately began to fall again. The Lin family's reputation has hit rock bottom. Just a moment ago, Mom and Dad were still holding their heads high at the banquet, but in an instant, they were so embarrassed that they slunk away with their tails between their legs. My parents were furious. But Lin Shui had had enough of putting on a show. She didn't think she was in the wrong at all. She pointed at her dad and yelled, "If you hadn't had someone break Zhang Jun's leg, I wouldn't have gone to see him out of concern. It's all your fault." My dad raised his hand to slap Lin Shui again. But in the end, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. This time, it's not that I can't bear to do it, I'm just completely disappointed. Standing in the doorway, Mom looked at her daughter, the girl she had once cherished so dearly, now reduced to this state, and slowly closed her eyes. She left with one last remark, "If you want to be with Zhang Jun, go ahead." Mom and Dad left. He paid no further attention to Lin Shui, who was acting crazy. They didn't have anyone keep watch anymore. Instead, they just let the media come in and harass Lin Shui. I know my older sister has completely lost her standing in my parents' eyes. But I remained calm and collected, helping my parents handle the crisis. Although I'm young, I'm a quick learner, and the company's senior management is very pleased with me. Over the past month, I've really been in the spotlight. My older sister, however, wasn't so lucky. Every day, she went to Dad's office to pester him, demanding that he use his connections to get the best doctor to treat Zhang Jun. Without caring whether Dad was in a meeting or not, he barged right in front of all the shareholders. To make Dad lose face. He called security right away, and they dragged her out. He turned and ordered everyone not to let her back into the company, and not to let her return home either. In addition, all of her credit cards were cancelled. The Jiang family also sent someone to look for us. My parents apologized profusely about this. Ms. Zhang's mother sipped her coffee, completely at ease. "We could have demanded compensation from your Lin family, but after thinking it over, we decided it wasn't necessary since we're old friends. So the engagement stands, but the bride will now be Lin Yu. Ms. Zhang's mother has had a good impression of me lately. Of course, it was influenced by our repeated chance encounters. Although I've already earned my parents' trust, I want the entire Lin family under my control, and right now, I need a powerful ally. That's the Jiang family." Naturally, my parents had no objections to this. I thought it was going to fall through, but now that I've become the person they like, you could say it's a win-win for everyone. Soon after, the public relations departments of both companies issued statements. "Jiang Shua and I will hold our engagement party on my 18th birthday." That night, standing there in my princess dress under the spotlight, I experienced for the first time what it felt like to be the center of everyone's attention. In the past, those pieces of jewelry would only end up with me if my older sister no longer wanted them. Now they all belong to me. Jiang Shua was, as usual, meticulous. However, on the way to the lounge, I had a conversation with Jiang Shua. I handed him a contract. He furrowed his brow slightly, but soon broke into a smile. "As I expected, Miss Lin too is no ordinary person. Unlike your sister, she isn't so shallow as to be attracted to my looks. Young Master Jiang really does know everything. Then why did you agree to get engaged to my sister? It's really just an arranged marriage anyway, it doesn't matter who the partner is. I'm not interested in it anyway." "That works out perfectly, I was thinking the same thing. I'm not insisting on marrying you. It's just that both our families are currently in the public spotlight. We can take this opportunity to collaborate and capitalize on the buzz. You and I can serve as public faces for our families, creating a win-win situation for both sides." Jiang Shua looked at me with admiration in his deep, piercing eyes. He finally picked up the pen and signed his name. Just as I looked up, he leaned in and whispered something in my ear. "I take back what I just said about not being interested in a marriage partner. Lin Yu, you're really interesting. Ever since I got engaged to Jiang Shua, we've been trending every day. Both companies are enjoying unprecedented popularity. Especially after I had the story leaked that Lin Shui had interfered with my previous marriage, the buzz really exploded. Everyone keeps saying that Master Jiang and I are a late-blooming couple. And Jiang Shua lived up to those rumors. He listed the same college as his first choice as I did. I frowned and told him that it was fine to be together as usual, but there was no need to stick together every single moment. But he stared at me and teased, "Of course I do, what if I take my eyes off my fiancée for a second and she runs off?" I'm used to his teasing by now. She shot him a speechless, disapproving glance. With a look of rapture on his face, he clutched his heart. Oh, what a little trick. We've generated a huge buzz here, and the collaboration between the Lin and Jiang families has been steadily gaining momentum. Dad was so happy that he gave me all of my older sister's remaining 20% stake. I'm now the second largest shareholder in the company, after my dad. But my sister's life is just SOSO. After her father cancelled her credit card, she had no choice but to move in with Zhang Jun. Zhang Jun's leg was injured, so he had to stay in bed. Her parents weren't exactly good people either, though at first they did pamper this little princess with good food and drink. Every day, they'd watch longingly as the Lin family sent people to take them back, so now it's the perfect opportunity for them to tag along and enter that wealthy family. But more than half a month has passed, and there's still no sign of anyone from the Lin family. The Lin family continued to host banquets everywhere, acting as if they'd never had this daughter. Zhang's parents are upset and are looking for things to complain about. Lin Shui was still sleeping in bed when she was dragged out to do chores. You're just lazing around at home all day. Get out there and pull some weeds, you won't get any dinner until you're done. The eldest daughter of the Lin family had never been treated this way before. He got into a fight with Zhang's parents right there at home. But after all, one person can't beat two, so she ended up with a black eye and a swollen face. She had no choice but to go to Zhang Jun in tears, but he immediately slapped Lin Shui across the face. He'd only ever seen Lin Shui, that rich girl, as an easy mark. He wanted to swindle her out of her money and her affections. Now look, not only did he end up with no money, but he's also stuck with a girlfriend. He's had enough of it. You damn woman. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have broken my leg, and yet you still dared to talk back to my mom. You're out of your mind. It was only then that Lin Shui realized that what she had thought was love was actually nothing but a load of crap. I'm the one who's a complete fool. During those few days, Lin Shui was beaten every day at home. The former young lady was being chased by someone wielding a stick as she worked, looking utterly bedraggled. Jiang Shua and I both officially received our acceptance letters, so our two families held a joint celebration to mark our acceptance into college. The venue was packed with guests, and amid the clinking of glasses, a down-and-out young woman burst through the door. It was Lin Shui. She looked like a completely different person from 2 months ago. His clothes were covered in oil stains, and his exposed skin was covered in scars. Seeing how glamorous and radiant we looked, Lin Shui felt a deep pang of pain. With tears in her eyes, she burst into a tirade. I'm the real eldest daughter of the Lin family, all of this was mine to begin with. Give it all back to me. She rushed over like a madwoman, but in the end, she was dragged out by security. But to everyone's surprise, Lin Shui climbed up onto the rooftop again and stood there teetering on the edge, so everyone rushed outside. Mom and Dad also made it to the rooftop. Lin Shui knew this was her last resort, her very life. She stood there on the edge, her body swaying in the wind as if about to fall, and cried, "Mom, I know I was wrong. I'm your daughter, after all. Are you going to abandon us?" My mom didn't step forward. She just sighed, "Don't call me Mom. It's not that we didn't give you a chance, it's that you didn't take advantage of it." Lin Shui looked at her father again, and he, too, waved his hand dismissively. After doing something like that, you still expect me to accept you? You're dreaming. Don't think I don't know you've been bullying your little sister all along. Lin Shui's previously pitiful face suddenly broke into a smile, one might even say she burst into uncontrollable laughter. Yeah, so what if I bullied her? I'll tell you the truth, those handmade gifts you received before were all made by Lin Yu. I took them from her and gave them to you. But you believed her, didn't you? It's because you two neglected your little daughter that I had the chance to take advantage of the situation. Do you think you're such great parents? You're all scum, just like me. She screamed at the top of her lungs like a deranged lunatic. Lin Shui has completely lost her mind. My parents completely ignored the situation, declared they would cut ties with her, and immediately had the legal department issue a document. Everyone turned and walked away. Lin Shui was still standing there, yelling at me, "Lin Yu, do you really think mom and dad like you? It's just that you're still useful to them." I scoffed inwardly. As if I didn't know. But before long, a scream rang out from behind them. Lin Shui tried to climb down, but her foot twisted and she fell. The scream was followed by the sound of a body hitting the ground with a thud. I heard that Lin Shui died a horrible death, her internal organs were spilling out, but I didn't see it. My parents just sighed, then had the legal affairs department issue a public notice severing ties. And her body lay in the morgue, unclaimed, just like mine did in my previous life. In the end, her actions came back to haunt her. 3 years later, I had already begun taking over the Lin family business, but my father still had me under his thumb, though I was no longer the Lin Yuelin I used to be. I have privately acquired a significant number of individual shares and have become the largest shareholder of the Lin family. I convened a board meeting and removed my father from his position as chairman. That day, my father slammed his fist on the table and called me an ungrateful son. But I just smiled. "Dad, you're getting old." I sent my parents back to our hometown to live there, and I won't let them come back. From now on, I'll be the one calling the shots in the Lin family. As he stepped out the front gate, Jiang Shua was leaning comfortably against his sports car, a faint smile playing in his eyes beneath his sunglasses. "Fiancé, is there any way we can keep the contract going? I can do more to help you, or are you interested in joining the Jiang family?"